James O'Keefe and Project Veritas as a whole is one of the last media outlets that promises something, delivers something, and then follows through on their threats. Because, hey, he said at the end of last week, after he was finally, his own personal account was finally thrown off of Twitter, and he's like, fuck you, we're coming right back at you. And guess what? He has, and he has with a vengeance, because Buddy could not have picked, he might have been able to pick a better defense lawyer, but he's definitely got one of those top tier legal teams on his side. And remember, Buddy is just about, I'm pretty sure he's undefeated, but he might have one against them, but his recent run is something of legend. So I hope this is the case that finally breaks Section 230's back and finally labels these big tech firms as publishers like they are and removes their goddamn protections under it, and I couldn't be happier because of it. Breaking: James O'Keefe sues Twitter in New York Supreme Court for false and defamatory statements following ban from platform. Intends to prove Twitter acted with reckless disregard for the truth. And we got a lawsuit as well, but here's the just brief overview. James O'Keefe made good on his promise to fight back and go on offense against corrupt media platforms today by filing a lawsuit against Twitter, citing false and defamatory statements the company made about him last week. Remember, they said that James O'Keefe was operating operated fake accounts. What? No. Good luck even proving that, too. Even if he did, which he didn't. Project Veritas has already sued and won on a motion to dismiss against the New York Times for defamation, so that one's going to trial, and will sue CNN for similar reasons. Yay! More payouts of nuisance money. And one little teaser video that came out after the third part was James O'Keefe going into CNN's building. I don't know how he got there. I just seen the little abridged version of it, and fat-headed Brian Stelter, who is, I don't know, at his fucking place of work wearing a gray tracksuit. Come on, buddy, you're not fooling anybody. Nobody thinks that you are out there working. Definitely not lifting. The only thing that you are lifting is probably doughy or cured in nature. O'Keefe, who was permanently banned from Twitter on Thursday, was accused of operating fake accounts. O'Keefe operates no fake accounts. Legal complaint reads, and we'll get into this in more detail, this is a defamation action arising from the publication of a false and defamatory statement by Twitter on April 15th, 2021, concerning its decision that day to ban plaintiff James O'Keefe, an investigative journalist, followed by over 926,000 Twitter users. Mazel tov. As of the time he was banned, the complaint continues. Twitter's false and defamatory claims was that it removed Mr. O'Keefe because he operated fake accounts. The ban comes on the heels of Project Veritas' bombshell undercover CNN videos showing technical director Charlie the Molester Chester admitting the news network is propaganda designed to oust President Trump for controlling viewers through fear. And race baiting as well. We can't leave that one out. His most recent lawsuit against Twitter is just one in a string of litigation O'Keefe and Veritas have lined up. Oh yes. And remember, they also incidentally led to another charge from Ken Paxton and a certain ballot collector who resulted in a strike on my channel for me reporting on it. Cocksucking YouTube. Go after them next, please. Project Veritas founder and CEO James O'Keefe sued Twitter in the Supreme Court of New York today over false and defamatory statements made by the big tech giant. Read the entire complaint filed today here. Oh, we got it. We got it right here. I've been reading through it. It's brief. It's what? 14 pages long, really. There's just a introductory page, and it's nicely double spaced. It's got a bunch of different pictures in it, which makes it eye-grabbing. It's very well written, because if you're even just cursory looking around on Twitter in the more objective corners of the legal sphere, you might recognize the name Dylan, and that's because one of the more high-profile names that are out there, Harmeet Dillon, great defense lawyer. Yeah, she's heading this one up, and sucks to be Twitter. That's all I gotta say. So like it says here in the allegations, Mr. O'Keefe founded Project Veritas, a non-profit 501c3 in 2011, and Project Veritas Action, a non-profit 501c4, separate legal entity to investigate and expose corruption, dishonesty, self-dealing, waste, fraud, and other misconduct in the public and private institutions. The goal of Project Veritas and Veritas Action is enhancing ethical conduct and institutional transparency in American society. We won't read this word by word because that would be boring. And also, they're just using this to establish that Project Veritas is a separate institution from that of James O'Keefe himself, as well as Project Veritas Action. Separate, and if I may steal a term from the Democrats, separate but equal institution from that of Project Veritas proper and James O'Keefe himself. Therefore, alleging that James O'Keefe diving in from time to time, making a tweet, doing a retweet, something like that, liking something on it, I don't know, or posting, watch out for the new expose next week, fucking a little updates on each independent account, is not that of fake accounts. You tards. Like was mentioned before, on February 11th, 2021, Project Veritas published a video showing Project Veritas reporters seeking an interview with Facebook Vice President Guy Rosen outside of his residence. This video was published on Project Veritas' Twitter account, resulting in their banning. But in a similar situation, indeed, CNN had done the same thing on a video tweet with over 2.2 million views, in which CNN reporter Drew Griffin confronted a private individual accusing her of spreading Russian disinformation and exposed her private residential address for the world to see. This is more egregious because the first one was a guy who was of significance to Facebook, a vice president. Went to his house, didn't say which city they were in, didn't show which street they were on. It just happened to have, and I don't know why this slipped through the editors, they had the street address number from the guy's house in the video. And what is CNN doing right here? The exact same thing, only to a private citizen. The scumbags never ever rest. And this isn't a recent thing. February 20th, 2018. There's countless other examples of this you've got to think as well. And that will come up during the trial as well, if it gets that far. He has a record of getting trials that far, so. And then, of course, Mr. O'Keefe exposes CNN, keep it in your pants. At no time prior to Mr. O'Keefe's permanent Twitter suspension on April 15th, 2021, was he warned, advised, or otherwise given reason to know that Twitter believed he was using fake accounts. Oh, but they're a private company. They can do whatever they want. Beginning on April 13th, Project Veritas published on its own website, spelling error, come on now, what's a website? As well as all other major social media sites, a series of undercover reporting videos and reports concerning the political reporting on CNN. And that ended up rustling some feathers. Of course, we've already gone through what those videos entail, so I need not bore you with the recap. False and defamatory fake accounts claim after suspending Mr. O'Keefe's personal Twitter account on April 15th, Twitter, through an unnamed spokesperson, disseminated to media outlets the provably false statement that Mr. O'Keefe was operating fake Twitter accounts. See New York Times article, propagandists in and of itself, which when we go back to Kim Potter, gonna have to drag New York Times on that one because, buddy, were they misleading. Reason Twitter never warned Mr. O'Keefe, or otherwise, took action relating to his supposed operation of fake accounts as alleged above prior to his permanent suspension is that Mr. O'Keefe does not own, control, use, or operate fake Twitter accounts. Twitter's claim that Mr. O'Keefe misled others on Twitter by operating fake accounts is false and defamatory. Yes, sir, because he is a journalist, okay? You say that he is starting to operate and use fake accounts, bot accounts, whatever you want to call them, that calls into question his integrity. He could start tweeting out, he can start making up sources using those other false, fake, made up nursery rhyme accounts. He start using them as sources. It's not like media hasn't done that in the past before. Yeah. Twitter's fake accounts, policy, and enforcement. This ought to be good. The false accusation that Mr. O'Keefe operated fake accounts is particularly damaging for Mr. O'Keefe because Mr. O'Keefe is a journalist. It's almost like I should almost be a lawyer. Just kidding. I'm not that slimy. As such, his reputation for transparency and accurate reporting is fundamental to his profession. By accusing Mr. O'Keefe of operating fake accounts, Twitter was directly attacking Mr. O'Keefe's fitness for his profession by accusing him of misleading others and by effectively running a disinformation outlet akin to those much discussed Russian interference disinformation bots that plagued the 2016 election. I love that they included this, and which inspired some political operatives to engage in a similar tactic in 2017, citing a New York Times article. Hilarious. Indeed, Twitter's entire fake accounts policy, which is which has accused Mr. O'Keefe of violating by stating that he has operated fake accounts, stems from the Russian disinformation campaign, which ended up being a Hillary Clinton op. Sucks to suck. And then they go through all of the different relevant articles of Twitter's terms of service in regards to operating fake accounts. The above quoted webpage in turn links to Twitter's transparency report. Those are a thing. I'm sure that they're really transparent, which offers extensive information and data regarding the measures taken by Twitter to ensure the integrity of the platform. Twitter Transparency Report, care of Twitter's Transparency Center, which sounds like an Orwellian institution if I've ever seen one. On information and belief impersonation and fake accounts are the same thing. That's retarded. Twitter knew its claim was false and or recklessly disregarded the truth. On information and belief, Twitter made such claims with knowledge of their falsity in order to distract and detract from Project Veritas' CNN releases of the same day. Twitter made this clear by its actions after they suspended Mr. O'Keefe. By the evening of April 15th, the day of Mr. O'Keefe's suspension, Twitter users were searching for the term Project Veritas on Twitter were directed under the People Results tab to the Twitter feed of CNN, the very news organization Project Veritas has implicated for political bias in its most recent expose. A true and correct reproduction of the Twitter results generated by such query as of the date of this complaint is set out in Figure 3. That's fucking hilarious. That is really funny. Just a search for Project Veritas on Twitter turns up Twitter's account and CNN's account. It's tough to say what else is going to be under there. It's tough to say what would be in the top suggestion, but that is clearly, if you go under the People, there's not even enough N's in there to be CNN. There's not a W, nothing in there that would be Twitter related other than they're searching on the platform. How could you justify that other than algorithmic manipulation? Other than just coming clean with what you're doing. This manipulation by Twitter's own search results supports the interference that Twitter knowingly or recklessly made false statements about the reason for banning Mr. O'Keefe as the pretext to misleading the public regarding Twitter's true purpose, which was silencing Mr. O'Keefe's reporting and on information and belief, causing harm to his reputation and credibility as an investigative journalist. Claim for relief. So they're suing on defamation grounds, of course, obviously. None of these accounts were fake. Twitter statements were and continue to be published without adequate investigation and inquiry first being made to determine their truthfulness. Twitter's false statements also excite adverse, derogatory, or unpleasant feelings or opinions against Mr. O'Keefe. As you can see, they have a whole lot of reasons to believe that this is a legitimate defamation case because you're dealing with two people or businesses of high public profile, so the bar for defamation is raised up a bit. But when you come out and make a stupid claim, because this lawsuit wouldn't be possible without Twitter, one and the same. If Twitter didn't come out and say that yeah, he was operating fake accounts, this could have just slid, okay? Somebody fucked up by ascribing fake accounts to James O'Keefe. This wouldn't be possible without this. That's why they would have been better off if they just would have had, okay, why was your account banned? The reasons blank. That would have been better for them. They could have sued for something. I'm sure they could find something in the terms of service. But then, just like we've seen with the Parler and Amazon website lawsuit, the first one that went around, there's some weird shit going on with that one. Once we get some time, a couple of days when this stuff eventually slows down, we'll be able to go back on that one. But the original claim was, okay, they terminated our use of the Amazon Web Services servers without letting us fix everything that was going on, okay? We were working hard on it, but we couldn't get the final 10% remedied, okay? But then there's another clause in there that says, yeah, lol, we can just fucking yeet you for no good reason. It's weird. It happens. There's a way you can sue for that. But this right here, giving a expressed reason that Twitter shut down your account, and it's just not true, you guys done fucked up. You done fucked up, and this could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. But we're going to get into the prayer for relief because that is the last relevant piece of information outside of he wants a jury trial. But obviously, of course, you want a jury trial. So what do they want for this one? Well, he wants money. More importantly, permanent injunction enjoining Twitter, its officers, agents, servants, employees, and other persons acting in concert or participation with Twitter for further disseminating the false, misleading, and defamatory representations or fact concerning Mr. O'Keefe discussed above, and requiring Twitter to remove such statements in all forums in which they are posted. Reasonable costs and court costs as well. He wants another head for his wall of shame. That's what he wants. He wants Twitter to clean up their terms of service. He wants them to clearly define why they're going to be kicking people offline. They want Twitter to stop slandering honest journalism, something that they are averse to. You could see that in the lead up to the presidential election with them silencing the Hunter Biden story from the New York Post. Oh, that was hacked material, until they took a look at the laptop and realized, no, that's not hacked material. He had the first-hand account that was seized by the computer repairman after Hunter didn't pay the bill in order to recover his laptop and left it there. Twitter's a scuzzy place. Sorry. I refuse to post on it. I need to patrol it just to see what people are talking about, but I hope this results in their ass kicking. I would love to be able to use the platform. I'm not one for confrontation, going back and forth with idiots, but there's a couple of people I do enjoy interacting with, or I did for a small period of time over there, and I just want them to be playing by the rules. And James O'Keefe has the determination, he has the chutzpah to go forward with this lawsuit, and as you can see, he has employed the right people in order to make this a successful lawsuit. So it's up there. It's going to be hit with a motion to dismiss, obviously, because that's always what happens in these cases. But it could follow along the New York Times model, which, if you remember in the beginning, Project Veritas was successful. Therefore, their case is going to be against New York Times going forward. I anticipate this one probably be going along the same lines, because this isn't a fly-by-night log group. This isn't just a slap-together lawsuit. This was thought about. It's good. It has wonderful little notes and figures. It has a strong case because they made the wrong claims and throwing them off. Oh my God. Again, another thing that could be 100% avoided if people just fucking were honest. So much of this stuff, so many of these stories that I cover on this channel that you guys are aware of, just out there in the ether, could be avoided. Would be just a massive non-issue if people would just tell the goddamn truth. But hey, maybe I shouldn't be so critical of people not telling the truth, because hey, I get a kick out of covering a bunch of these stories. And now I gotta stick to the home turf, because Canada, for the first time in like 18 months, has put out a yearly budget. I know, right? It doesn't make any sense, but neither does the Liberal government, and the way that they're appropriating our tax money and redistributing it out makes even less sense, and I hate this place. Oh, boy. It's really starting to look like the little socialist cap on top of the United States, and it's a laughingstock to the world, so we got to discuss how they're wasting my money. Anyways, guys, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.